Show if you guys are ready.
We're ready for you.
Hey man, it is the Ace Micheals Show. Check it out, man. We're doing this live for you. I mean, not live like it's happening now. It already happened. But it's live as far as you're concerned. You're watching it now and you're alive. So that's live. And it's not fake news, by the way. It's actually no news. There's absolutely no content here that could qualify as news. So there you go. Anyway, if you ever want to be on the show, you can. Just send us an email. You can email us beyondthebuzz@yahoo.com. You can email beyondthebuzz. Or you can call. You know, I get it. Just don't call breathing heavy. And you can call 702-540-3498. Listen, man. I likes to party. Woo! You know, I read sometimes about these things like hedonistic vacation getaway. And I think, gosh, what are they doing on that thing? What does that mean? What exactly is going on? And I don't know, right? It's a big curious mystery, like what really happens on those no-tell vacations. So today, I brought two people who know a lot about what doesn't get told to my show. Welcome, Robert and Beth Volin, or
yes.
Volin.
No, you got it right.
Yeah? Okay, good.
Right.
I like to say people's names right.
Nice.
Robert, this is Robert, and this is Beth, just so you guys know. We're distinguished.
And nobody's going to be looking at me, only her, of course.
Well, let's address that. That's the elephant in the room. Beth is very sexy, and she can't help that, probably.
She can't help it.
Good Lord.
She has the right jeans.
Yeah, at least. And jean skirts, too. Yeah, there's a whole lot more going on in jeans. So, you two are married.
Correct.
Yes.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, Robert and I will try to be friends regardless of that. But you guys are married, and you've been married for a little while.
Yes.
Yep,
right?
Can't tell you exactly.
No, and we don't want to. Why'd spoil the mystery?
Oh my God.
That's right.
You guys are newlyweds.
Yes.
And you have a business that facilitates other couples getting away and having, how would you describe it? I mean, your ad says Wild Women Vacations. I guess that pretty much spells it out, right? That's
yes.
what you're getting.
That tells you just about everything, and that is exactly what we are and what we do. We're about 98% male-female couples, but the women who come, you know, on the vacations with us, they are interested in being with other women, and they can't do that. I mean, they can't fulfill that fantasy at home. So
y'all can come right here. If y'all need to do that, we got plenty of space for y'all. Don't feel you got to go away. Y'all can do it right here. I'm sorry. I just had to put that little 15 seconds in there.
I don't blame you.
Robert, I'm here to help, man. You know what I'm saying? God.
No.
Wow.
So you know, the women back home, a lot of small town, you know, couples. They get down to hedonism too in Negril, Jamaica. And we put together events 6 times a year down there, and we mix a little social, a little fun, a little provocative, but the main focus is for the women who come down there, whether it be wives or girlfriends, to meet other women, to take it to the next level.
Yes,
Robert,
experiment.
Robert, you are so naughty. Yeah. You are naughty guy, Robert. So
Thank you.
this is something. So let me go back a step, because my mind is like kind of stuck on one notch instead of being able to move forward. I'm kind of like, I keep repeating the same piece. So you mean to tell me people, be it male or female, they have to get away to do this? Like
Most of the time, sure.
Yes.
What environment? Is it because of a religious thing? Is it because
No.
of a work environment? Are people
That's
coming
it.
that they don't want other people to know that they're
Yeah,
into this kind of
Correct.
lifestyle?
Yes.
Correct.
Really?
For example, each one of our groups will have a secret Facebook page, and it has to be secret because they're so afraid to put themselves
Wow.
out there because someone may recognize
Our
them.
coworker,
And-
a relative.
And
yes.
when they get down there, they don't even tell people where they are. So many of them, you'll see them at the resort next door or across the street, and they're taking pictures in front of that resort and telling everyone back home that's where we stayed.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
This is
Way
for
happens
real.
all
Yes,
the time.
To show their family and friends, yeah.
Over now,
Yeah.
this we're talking about sex still, right? This
Sure.
is because people
Yes.
want to connect sexually,
Yes.
Sure,
and
exactly.
there's such a kind of repressive thing going on in our country
That's
where people
exactly
have to
the
hide
situation.
that.
Yes.
That's exactly the situation, except for the millennials. For some reason, the millennials, and I don't know why, but women who are looking to be with other women seems almost second nature to them now.
Yes.
Huh?
And that's a major difference between the average age of our clients that come with us, and that's usually like late 30s to mid 40s.
Wow.
And they have to be real careful. I got a lot of business owners, a lot
Huh.
of professional people that come. We've got, believe it or not, billionaires that come down there.
Sure, sure.
And you would think that why would they have to come down there? But this is what they
And
want to do.
speaking of billionaires, like, do you guys do the whole private billing thing? Like, you can't put Wild Women Vacations
No.
on
Oh,
your
no,
bill. You
no,
got to
no,
put
no.
some other like
No,
corporate sounding thing, right?
It actually goes all the billing goes through the resort itself, hedonism too.
Wow. Wow.
So we got to be real careful with that.
And so is this the only thing? This is the only kind of travel business you book? Like, if I wanted to book a fantasy football she's like, no.
Nah.
She's like, nah, not gonna happen.
Just Google fantasy football
Yeah.
vacation.
Right.
Find the experts.
No, this is all. This is it. This is all we do. This is it.
Wow.
We did 20 years ago. We sold the world, but now only hedonism
Only hedonism too.
and wild women
And
vacations.
I want to tell you, it's been nice. At first, it took a little time before it would catch hold. VH1 came to us in 2006, and they did a documentary about us
That's an
that aired about 35 times, and a few times, believe it or not, in prime time. And oh my goodness, the emails and the calls came in, and that just put us on the map, and it's just been taken off.
So let me ask you, guys, are you okay? Are you two regular people? Are you normal people?
Oh, absolutely.
Conservative?
Yes.
Believe it or not.
Yes.
I mean, Beth, she likes women. God bless her. I'm not going to stop her. But if I lay the hand on another woman,
But
Done.
yeah, and
Well,
this is
we're
something.
not swingers. I guess it's
Right.
Yeah.
You're
And this is
Absolutely.
something you talked about before marriage, or did this come up after you were married, and then you just found that you happened to like are comfortable with the same things?
no. Actually, I knew Beth was into other women when I asked her to marry me.
Yeah.
Marry me, yeah. It was.
And he knew I was bisexual.
I knew she was bi, and of course, the smile couldn't come off my face for months. But believe it or not, she did not want me to get involved.
Yeah.
That threesome situation.
Yeah.
She said it wasn't for her.
Cake and eat it too.
And
Can't happen.
I was her rock, and she did
Yes.
not want me to be involved when she had an experience. And I loved her more than anything in the world, and I wouldn't want to hurt her, and it's never happened.
Right.
I've never done it.
But our clientele, we encourage them to experiment this is a place, an environment for them to experiment. And I wanted to create a place for women to be safe and have a safe environment and to empower women and to be as wild as they can.
You know what's interesting? A number of our clients over the years said that they were so repressed, because they were so afraid to take that step to be with another woman. But once it happened, their confidence level just went right through the roof. There were a number of clients that came back to us and said, you know what, my confidence level is at an all-time high. I got promotions. I started my own business.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like the whole world opened up up to them, and it's just because they were able to take that next step on a sexual level to be with another woman, and that was the most surprising thing with them.
And let it be okay.
And let it be okay.
Yeah,
And
it's
also to
interesting.
experiment with other couples. I mean, couples.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, the couples would get together as well, but
Yes.
it would always start with the women
Right.
being together.
It's kind of the first step.
You know what's interesting is, I've interviewed a lot of different types of people on the show, and I found that people who are into cross-dressing or the transgender lifestyle say the same thing. Like, as soon as they find the person that it's okay to be as much themselves with as whatever your self is. If you're into, like, if you're Hugh Hefner and you just like to have thousands of naked women around all the time, then you got to find a partner who is fine with that too, whatever the thing is, But I found that they said the same thing, that, finding that place where you got to be yourself without any judgment, everything else in your life then
It
became
opens up.
much easier.
Yeah, it just opens up.
That's
Because
interesting.
you're being authentic. You're being yourself.
That's interesting.
So we break the ice for them. I mean, we get down to Jamaica, we break the ice, and then we just pretty much let nature take its course.
Now, eventually, I'm going to ask Beth if she's two separate people, because Beth seems very, very straight-laced here in this interview, but then she's got some kind of sexy pictures. And I'm wondering, like, does Beth become another person? So you think about the answer to that. But before we go to that question, is this like a white folks thing? Is it mostly what's the like? Is it Asian people as well as Latin people as well as Black people as well as, like, who's coming to this stuff?
Everybody.
Yeah,
Every ethnic, the
Tall, skinny, short, fat, everybody.
The diversity is
Everybody.
incredible.
Yes.
That's amazing.
People from all over the world. I have coming up. Excuse me.
That's okay.
Coming up, we have two couples heading down from. Oh. I can't believe I'm coughing.
It's all that good lifestyle.
Okay. We have people coming in from all over the world. On our next trip, we actually have two couples coming in from Australia.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, one of them is here in Vegas right now. They're getting married. And they're staying here for a couple of weeks, and then they're heading down to Hedonism 2 in Jamaica to join us.
Wow.
I mean, but it's white, black, Hispanics,
It's all over.
everything. And
Wow.
it's all over the place.
It's so interesting that people want to express themselves in a way that they feel like, even though this may not be right, I'm going to do this. I've been told my whole life that I shouldn't like another man. And damn it, if I have to go take a cruise to be away from everyone's ostracization, that's what I'm going to do, right?
Yes.
But that's very interesting. It's very liberating what you're doing. You're giving people an opportunity to be somebody that they'll never get to be elsewhere in their lives.
Exactly.
You realize
Absolutely.
that, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
And you know what's interesting? We actually do attract, and again, no rhyme or reason, we do attract a lot of biracial couples.
Interesting.
And not necessarily the black man with the white woman. We have a lot of the opposite as well. Where the man is white and the woman is black, and she wants to explore that and that fantasy, and she has the opportunity. And boys, they get crazy. they really do. When they get that first little taste of what,
Unsolicited testimonial. Wow.
They go
Calm
all
down,
out.
Calm
Yeah,
down.
like you get carried
Oh,
away.
I've seen some things over
I
the
saw
years.
the color in his face change. Like, well, okay. So Beth.
Yes.
So now about you.
Yes.
Okay. So you definitely do seem like you're more subdued right now than what I imagined you would be, based on when I saw pictures, and I said, this girl is wild with women. Patience, come on, she's a party animal, right? So do you become a different person? Is this like a second life for you?
I think I'm both those people, but I'm a businesswoman first and foremost, and I think that's what you're seeing now. But in Jamaica, when I'm running my parties, I'm wild.
Yeah, and how
But
do
I
you?
think my pictures show that.
And how do you distinguish, like, when it's okay? Like, do you, at the end of the day, do you say, listen, there's certain times? Like, how does a couple manage such a very different lifestyle from your traditional couple lifestyle? 9 to 5, come home, eat dinner, watch the news, go to bed. You know what I mean?
Well, How we juggle it, it's, you know what, after a while it becomes almost second nature.
Yes.
At the beginning, you know, there was a few issues here and
Bumps,
there. I don't know. I didn't
yes.
know how to handle a few things. She didn't know exactly how I was going to react. But you know, we talk about it, and a lot of situations popped up. And you know, after it was over, we discussed it, and again, eventually, it just became second nature. I mean, became no big deal anymore.
And we have
Right.
been doing it for 17 years. So,
I mean, there were times where we would actually, you know, set up a girl event. I mean, the guys would be able to come, but only the girls would be active, and we would have 2 beds filled with women. You know,
yeah.
8 here, 7 there, and they're just going at it, and all the guys are going crazy.
Sure.
And eventually, after a while, it's like, okay, I've seen it. You know, no big deal.
But now that's what I want to ask you about, Robert. Now, when you're watching this craziness going on, and you have a beautiful wife, and you're loyal to your wife, which is fabulous. Thank you, Obama. But you, how do you process that? I mean, you've got women with women all over the place for the weekend or the 3-day getaway. How do you maintain?
Well, just maturity.
Yeah. And again, it is business.
I'm not sure, you know, I have to, you know, qualify that.
Yeah.
But it took a little while again. I mean,
And his
I'm
face
not-
changed color again.
I am not going to lie. At first, I was going completely out of my mind. I was like, is this really happening? Is this really happening in front of me? I'm one of the luckiest people in the
my
entire
God.
world.
Yes.
Oh my
You know,
God.
so it was difficult at first, but you know, eventually, again, you just get used to it, and I've had some, you know, women after they've been with all these other women say, "Oh my God, you know, here's Robert. He runs this show, and
sure.
I'm interested in him, and you know, let me see what I can do." And I have to almost run away sometimes.
Wow.
But we're
Wow.
professionals.
You know, we try to
Right.
stay professional. I don't want to get involved with my clients, obviously.
Sure.
Yes.
You know, because they do put food on the table.
And it's a fun business. I
Oh,
can't
oh, boy,
imagine
is it
that
fun.
it would suck.
Yes.
I mean, no pun intended.
Uh,
But it's got to be a fun business. You guys seem to love it. So what happens from here? What you do this for, say, another few years? What's the end game? What does it become? Do you have aspirations to become the moguls of this, or like what do you do this for?
We are
That's a
already the
question.
moguls of this.
Right.
Yes.
And I mean that seriously. There are a number of other operations over the years
We have
who
tried.
try to do what we do.
I think I'm going to try to do it. I like it.
We have maintained the
Yes.
integrity of our niche market,
Yes.
and we don't have any
Yeah, we
competition.
have none.
Wow.
None, zero, and that's
God
because
bless America.
that's because all the other operations who tried to do it, they ended up falling into the same trap of just becoming a swinger event, where you know we
We
make
stay
sure
true to
we
ourselves.
stay true.
Yeah.
We made sure the guys are behaving themselves, you know, and if they get sometimes a little bit too excited and they start trying to take it to the next level, you know, getting involved, I just yell out, pecker and pants, and whoop, they apologize and like, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That just happened. Wow. Wow. So let me ask you both this question. Do you feel like you're in the sex industry? Because you're selling a package, right? You can't just go on the cruise, or you can't just go on the vacation and stay in your room and read a book. Like, there definitely is an element of hooking up with other people. That's why you're
Yes,
there.
That's
absolutely.
correct.
Right?
Yes.
That's correct.
So, do you feel like you are in the sex industry like a person who owns a strip club is definitely in the sex industry, or a person who owns a escort company is definitely in the
Yes.
sex
You
industry?
know, that's a good
good
question. I don't think we've ever been asked
Yeah.
that before.
We consider ourselves travel agents.
Yeah.
And that's what we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, something's traveling
Yeah.
already. Oh, there's a lot of traveling. That's what we used to call it, traveling.
But you know,
So, yeah, we have-
I don't really look at us as being in the
No,
sex industry. No,
It's
it's
interesting.
really more the travel business, and we're just providing a
A service.
unique service.
There's like you said, there's a niche market.
It's a niche
Um,
market, yeah.
The question I was going to ask, if you did or didn't think you were in the sex industry, what's always fascinated me, and I mean from day one when I first learned that there was a thing about sex, is how something so natural became so profitable by people being so subjective about it. Like, it's just sex, right?
That's-
It's how we all
exactly.
got here.
Right.
Yep.
What's the big deal?
And
but
that's
it
the-
is a big deal,
Yeah, it
right?
is a big deal.
But that's the way we look at it now. It's just sex, no big
Yes.
deal.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes, but-
it's almost, a lot of times when people are nervous and they want me to make them feel more comfortable as I'm on the phone with them, I just say, well, think of it as just like eating, sleeping, sex. And you know what? It starts to hit home, and they go, okay, well,
Yes.
we'll give it a try. And don't get me wrong, first timers, the women are so nervous.
Yes,
They get so
absolutely.
anxious. I've had women shaking just coming to our initial meet and greet, party. I mean, they're shaking.
Isn't that they're shaking because they're going to have an orgasm?
No,
Well,
no,
Something else? What are they all shaking about? Like
Because they're nervous, they
they're
don't know-
nervous that they're finally going to do
They're
their
finally
dream
gonna-
with another person.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're
well,
going to meet another woman. But they're meeting
Right.
women who feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
So
They're nervous because they don't know what to expect. They're afraid of rejection. A
Yes,
lot of them.
yes.
That's
Yeah.
a big one.
Yeah.
That's
they're,
a big
they're
one.
taking the initial step, and how do they go from there?
And it usually takes, what do you think? What, about a day or two,
No,
and then
sometimes
and then
none.
they're out of control.
Sometimes an hour.
Sometimes an hour. But at our meet and greet, it's just a social thing.
Yes.
Sure.
We put on a rave night also down at Hedonism too, and that's the most fun night of the week
Yes.
because it's all themed and just a wonderful evening just to socialize.
Huh.
And then we have our provocative girl parties. Again, the men come, but only the women get involved. We have a few interesting toys for them, and that can get
That can get interesting, I'm
that
sure.
can get very interesting.
Now, you two are both very attractive, and I'm very comfortable saying that to you, Robert. Man to man, you're a handsome guy. I mean, I'm not going to sing a love ballad to you,
Oh,
but
well,
you know what I'm saying.
I was hoping that was coming
Yeah, I was
next.
gonna. I'm gonna. Yeah,
I
you
was
got to buy me a
hoping
drink
I was
before
hoping that
we.
would
You
be
know.
coming next. That's right.
But and it's none of our business about your personal sex life. But I'm curious. Have you ever thought? I bet my sex life is better or worse because of all of this.
Well, at first,
Yes.
it was out of control.
Yes. It definitely
I mean,
increased,
it
added
was.
to it.
It was out of control.
Was it like a movie montage where it was like, cut to, he's waking up next to another dumb blonde. Cut to, he's in the bed with another one. Like, was it that bad? Was it out of control?
Well, with my wife, yeah, it pretty much was like
Yeah.
that. I mean,
Yeah.
she would wear different outfits, and I'd be waking up to a different outfit if she didn't take it off,
The night
by the
before.
end of the evening.
These are the problems.
And
we-
I thought it was a different
such
woman.
problems.
I thought it was a different woman each time.
Damn. Ooh.
But again, like anything else, like hey, if you owned a pizza place,
Yeah.
right, and you made pizza all the time, and you love pizza,
I'm trying to figure out how he's going to work this together. Go ahead. Yeah, okay.
Eventually, you get tired of pizza.
Sure.
Well,
I hear
eventually.
you. Very interesting. And so, Beth, now, do you carry on long-term relationships with some of these ladies?
I have. I've had long-term relationships with really about 3 women within the last 10 years.
So do you ever consider like what you guys are having is kind of a polyamorous relationship?
No.
No, it's not the
no,
same.
No. Polyamorous is really more when
Yeah.
two couples look at each other as being husband and
Strangers
wife.
in the night.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
everyone is having fun together, and
Yeah.
almost in a home life,
Yes.
situation.
And for me, it because I am bisexual, it's falling in love with someone, and I have long-term relationships with people.
And of course,
Or a
Robert's
person.
fine with that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Doesn't even
Yes.
faze me.
Interesting.
I just, tell me the stories when you come home.
Interesting. Now, I'm gonna give you a quick backstory. So, for years, I ran for two and a half years actually. I ran the Palms Bar in West Hollywood, and so it was a lesbian bar. It was actually the very first lesbian bar in West Hollywood,
Cool.
some 30 years ago. But I didn't run it back then. But the point is, so I was in this environment that, as a straight man, was very different for me from the very first week that I started. And then I learned to adapt, and I learned to accept, and I learned to really blend in, and it was some of the most interesting times in my life. That being said, I saw a different type of relationship than I would see when I work at my straight nightclubs. The straight nightclubs, I would see there was a typical pattern. There was the guys come in to have a drink. The guys may have a couple drinks. They buy the girls drinks because they want to bed the girls. And eventually somebody gets so drunk that either A, they go home together, or B, there's a fight because they don't go home together. And that was kind of the way it worked at every straight bar.
Yeah.
At the gay bars, it was a different thing. My observation of it was, it wasn't actually about drinking. It wasn't actually about picking someone up. It was only about some type of camaraderie or union that happened. And if you happened to connect with the right person, then yeah, you might leave together. But it wasn't really about leaving together. And that was very interesting for me. So that's the backstory. Now this is the question. When you guys do your thing, do you find, is it a peaceful environment? Like, is it like a reggae club where everybody's not trying to fight because they want to get high? Or is it just like any other club? Like, do you see just as many bar fights? Do you see just as many couples breaking up as you see united? Like,
Very rare.
Does the question make sense?
Sure it does.
Yes.
It's a very rare occurrence that, you know,
We have a problem.
there are problems with,
Yes.
you know, relationships. Have I seen it? Yes,
Yes.
I have. I've seen couples break up right in front of me. You know, I've seen couples. You know, once the woman got involved with somebody else, the man proposed to her by the end of the evening. Went and bought a diamond ring on property, and got down on one knee. You know, we've seen it both ways. But as far as really having major concerns and fights, they're respectful
Yes,
for the
people
most
are there
part.
to have a good time, and I think you take it to whatever level you need to for yourself,
Nice.
and I think you know if it's right for you or not.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're adults, so
I mean, the hedonism too is all inclusive, so the alcohol does
Yes.
flow, and every once in a while you can get somebody who may, you know, turn, you know, got a little bit difficult, you know, because they drank a little too much. But that could happen anywhere you go.
yes,
But you know, there's security, they're plentiful on property,
yes,
and if something happens on that level, it's usually, you know, squelched within minutes.
yes.
I'm going to ask you both my final question. You have been wonderful guests. You're probably my two favorite guests. I love you. I want to ask you one question, which is going to be your favorite story of all of these experiences.
that's hard.
One that, I mean, you gotta. I know there's one that you go back to and you just smile, or you shrug, or you shake,
There's
or
so
you
many.
quiver. But for each of you, I'd like that. But before I ask you that, so think about that. Reflect on that. How many people would you say average in a year are you booking on your tours? Is it like a couple hundred people? Is it
No,
thousands
much
of people?
more.
Is it
No.
30, 40? Like how
No,
many people?
we average about 500 couples a year.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And of course we do accommodate single ladies. Sometimes,
All the single ladies.
yeah. I mean, but not that many.
I try to accommodate single ladies too.
But you know, we don't have that many single ladies
Yes.
that come with us, and every once in a while, you know, if a couple has broken up and the guy wants to relive his memories at hedonism too, we let him come by himself. But that's
But
relatively
that's rare. That's rare.
I'm really shocked that no one's made a movie about you guys yet. Has someone approached you yet
Just VH1.
with a story?
Well,
Because
we
you
had
guys
the
gotta have some amazing stories.
We had the VH1 documentary, and I'll tell you something funny about that. We had two young ladies who were working the cameras, and we had, it wasn't, you know, there was nothing sexual, but we had the girls in bed, including Beth. There was like 4 of them, and they were playing a little bit and kissing, and I was watching from afar, and the 2 women who had the cameras were breathing heavily, so the cameras were going up and down, up and down.
Is there any way we can get that footage? Oh no. Sorry, that's off book. Sorry,
They
off book.
had to film that for over an
Yes.
hour just to
Yes.
get
over an hour.
just to get in that, you know, the minute or so scene.
Did they have to film it for an hour?
Hell yeah, they.
Wow.
And we were just laughing.
Yeah.
We were just
Wow.
laughing. They
Wow. Phenomenal.
and all they were doing was kissing and touching,
Yes.
and you know, that's
And they were
nothing.
enjoying it.
Nothing.
Loving, touching, and squeezing. Let's start with Beth. Your favorite story, best or worst story from all of these years of doing this. would be?
I would have to say I have so many,
Sure.
and I don't kiss and tell.
Oh, you can't do us. Oh,
Yeah.
see, you are a party pooper.
I don't.
Oh.
I don't.
Okay, I'll make one up for you. Okay, this is what happened. So Beth was getting it on with these hot chicks, and there was something having to do with some oil and some fruit, and that's all we can say at this point. We'll leave it
Exactly.
at that. Use your imagination. Okay, Robert.
All right. Well,
Roberto.
I do have a lot of good ones, and actually, believe it or not,
I believe that.
one
For
of
some
them,
reason, I believe you got some doozies.
One of them involved one of our ladies who, was highly bi, but she had a male fantasy. And boy,
okay,
this one's interesting. She had to have 10 men. Could not be 9. Could not be 11. It had to be 10 men. And she was in the middle of the bed, and the wives of the men were around the bed, and they were fluffing their mates.
And this is his job, by the way.
Yes.
He's working, ladies and gentlemen. Wow.
And I was a director of this. I had to actually direct the entire scene.
Because who else could do it better?
She was sitting in the middle of the bed there, and as each one of the guys was getting ready to have an orgasm, they had to get up and go onto the bed and come on her chest.
Each one had to do that.
Yes.
Each one had to do that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And so that's what happened, one at a time, and she would collect it in a champagne glass.
Yep.
And after number 10 was finished, she poured champagne into the glass and down the hatch.
Yeah, that's a
Oh
good
my
story.
goodness, that was.
Was that like the first time you saw that?
Yes.
Well, you think you see something like that every day?
As a how would I call myself? As a curate? No, I'm not a curate. As an appreciator of pornography, I have seen that particular act performed. But it's always been performed. I've never seen it in
person.
life.
It was,
and it would probably freak me out in life.
it was interesting. I couldn't believe what was again. You're watching it occur in front of you, and like, oh my God, is this really happening?
I have a share story. So we're adults. We're talking about sex. I briefly dated a girl, but we ended up having sex. We were in bed together, and she wanted to have my ejaculate and me take a picture of it on her. And at first it was sexy. It was like, oh, yeah, baby, you're freaky. Yeah, give me the camera. But then it freaked me out because I started thinking, well, where are these pictures going to go? Like, who wants to see a picture of that after? Like, what are you going to do with the pictures?
Yeah.
What's your deal with pictures? Why do you want pictures of that?
You mean you may have ended up on the internet somewhere?
Like, and then I started thinking, being a guy, I started thinking, well, what about other guys? How many pictures of other guys? Let me see your phone. Right? Anyway, that's a brief history.
But we've also had women who had certain fantasies. Some women wanted to be blindfolded and have
10 girls.
10 girls,
10 girls.
5 minutes apiece.
5 minutes.
I mean, and believe me, that's exactly what it was. It was 5 minutes apiece.
Yep.
What is 5? Why not 4? Why not 6?
No,
5 minutes apiece.
It's her fantasy.
When women have fantasies,
Wow.
they
It
are
was
very
her fantasy.
precise.
Wow.
Yes.
So now you took me in a whole other direction because I thought, in my naivete, I thought you guys were just booking the tour, the actual travel. You guys are fulfilling people's fantasies and stuff, and
That's
this
correct.
is your job. You're doing.
That's
So
correct.
somebody, wait a minute. Somebody comes to you with a menu and says, "Listen, I want to go to Jamaica. Yeah. I want to go on a boat. Yeah. I want to stay in a hotel. Yeah. Now, let's get down to what's really going on. They need to be chocolate chip cookies, and they need to be delivered by Fabio. Like, this is where you guys come in?
Well, not
Not
exactly.
quite like that.
Okay.
But if a woman has a particular female fantasy, this other one with the 10 guys, that was pretty unusual.
Yes.
But most of them are with other women. One woman said she wanted to be ravaged by 3 women at
Does
the
she
same
still
time.
want to be? 'Cause-
Oh well, you know what?
Yeah.
She was very disappointed
Just
because
curious.
there were 5 women that ravaged her at the same time. But she would come to us and we would say, okay, let me ask around, let me see who would be interested in fulfilling this particular fantasy. And so it did. It went around, and then we set it up, and then instead of 3 girls showing up, there were 5.
So now this gets into a little bit of psychology. Like, do you ever have someone that has requested someone at something, and you go, "We can't do that for you.
Oh, sure.
You're gonna have to get that on your own," or
Sure.
or maybe that's even not legal. Like I don't want to hear about that. You want to do that?
And that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You know, within our group, usually they can have these fantasies just talking to other couples, and the couples set it up for themselves. I mean, a lot of times we're not involved.
Right.
It's only every so often, maybe a good friend or someone we've known for a while,
Yeah.
that
Wow.
we get involved.
No,
But
no.
mostly it happens within the group itself.
Pretty much.
Because we're all there for the same reason.
And clearly, there's the confidentiality.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
the
100%.
trust
The
is
trust
probably the
issue
most.
is
The trust is
very
more important than the
important.
money. The
Yes.
trust
Very,
is
very
what's up. If you
important.
can't have the trust, it's not going to happen.
That's
Yes.
correct.
Yeah.
100%.
That's correct.
Yeah.
You know, and have women tried to cross the line here and there? Yes, they have. And we would just tell them, look, I don't think we can do this.
Right.
But you know what's interesting? Male fantasies are so narrow. I want a threesome. My kingdom
Yeah.
for a threesome. You know?
And that's a
I'll give you
spot-
my car for a threesome.
That's a spot on imitation of what they sound like too, Robert.
Yeah.
I've heard,
just like them.
I've heard
Yeah.
thousands of them.
Yes.
You know, and they all, you're right, they
Yes.
all sound alike. But women's fantasies are just, the
Wide.
spectrum is just so wide, varied. I mean, from something so minor to something so complex.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
I wandered into a chat room once, and there was a trans section, a male section, a female section. So I'm not interested in having sex with a man. I don't have a problem with men, but I'm not interested in having sex with a man.
Right.
So I accidentally wandered into a male section one time. That's how I knew there was a male section, right? And the first thing I noticed is this is just a bunch of guys playing with their weenies, right? I wandered into a trans section another day by accident, and I was like, oh, how creative. You got that hidden under there. Oh, wow. Check you out. But when I finally found the payload, the mother load was the women's section.
Oh my
These
Lord.
girls were so creative. It was like, are we still talking about sex right now? Because what you're doing is a piece of performance art here.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you've earned every penny, because I can't imagine how you came up with that. And these girls knew the right camera angles. I mean, they knew everything. It was like, wow. So I totally agree with you. Like, there is definitely a discourse between what satisfies men sexually is pretty much the difference between analog and digital
Yes.
in the world of men. Because
it is so
men
true.
just want straight,
so
right?
true. It is. It's like night and day. So the women, you know, they just they come down to Jamaica with us at Hedonism 2 and the Grill, and you know they have certain things in their head that they would like to see accomplished while they are there, and
Wow.
most of the time, it happens.
So my last question, Robert, we almost had a female president. Very
Almost.
close. Could have happened.
Almost.
Maybe. Are you a better man by knowing women the way that you have through this experience?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The understanding of women, as my knowledge has just increased dramatically, with one exception. She's sitting right next to me. Still can't figure her out.
That's an enigma.
It's still the
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, I will say this, just from my outsider's viewpoint looking in, as long as she's happy, I think you're going to be happy.
Oh, that's true.
You
That's
work
true.
that out, you're going to be
And,
fine.
and believe me, she makes me happy. You know.
And Beth, okay, so my final question for you. Closing thoughts on this. If you had to give only one thing that you could say to someone who's experiencing this for the first time and they're coming to you, what do you say? What would you say to someone?
I would say try it. Be as wild as you can. I'm giving you a place, a safe environment. Go for it. Do it.
And that is what's
Life
up.
is short.
And that is what's up. Hey, man, it's the Ace Michael Show. I cannot close the show stronger than that. Listen, You got to find somebody that will let you be you, and that is success. And you know what I say at the end of every show: live the life you love. Love the life you live. My guests, Robert and Beth Volan. And how do people contact you on that www if they want to reach out to you?
WildWomenVacations.com.
Of course, it would be that.
Nice and easy.
And that is what's up, you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for enjoying. Have a fabulous, fabulous life. Thank you.